Hi, I'm Pam Hayes from Hayes Sewing Machine Company, Wilmington, Delaware, and welcome back to our creative videos. And today we're going to be doing another 3-yard quilt, and it's done out of quick and easy 3-yard quilts. And the quilt we're going to do today is Puzzle Me This, and that's this guy. It's nice. There are only 2 blocks, super simple. So if you need something quick, or you just want to get yourself back into sewing again, this is great. You're going to have this block here, and then that block there. So very simple, easy to work with. And I'm just going to show you one block. So when you see very small pieces of material, okay, remember you're going to have a long section that you're going to subcut. And again, just follow the instructions and it'll help you out. Basically, we're going to be working with a 1/4-inch seam today. So I'm working with my 57-foot today for my Bernina. But again, any accurate 1/4-inch seam would be perfect. So the first thing we're going to do is this block here. All right. So you're going to have your center section, and then you're going to put the 2 green on either side. Now remember, when you're doing this, you're going to have a whole strip, like the width of the fold, okay? Or width of fabric, I should say. So we're going to line this up, and we're going to do our 1/4-inch. Remember to put the 2 pieces together. And sew as quickly as you like, but also be accurate. And we're going to put this one. And we're just going to again sew down the other side. Alrighty. So now I'm just going to go over to the ironing board, and I'm going to be pressing my seams towards the dark, towards the blue. I'll be right back. All right, so, ta-da! And again, pressing them towards the blue. So now at this point, we're going to cut that 8 inches. So when we line this up, you're going to make sure that you have we're going to cut one edge so we're nice and even. Flip it around. I'm cutting right-handed today. And we're going to cut 8 inches. All right. First block done.
Yay!
Yay! Quick and simple. Now, the next one, you have a couple of more seams, but no big deal. You are going to have your center block. So you can see here, we have our center block, okay? And then when we work with this guy, we're going to line this up. And these are the 2 short
Side pieces.
side pieces.
And once again, if they're following the directions in the book, it's going to be from salvage to salvage.
Yes, one big long piece, and then you will do your subcut.
Subcuts.
I just didn't want to bore you guys to tears.
like your fabric choice. That's new, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And Patricia picked this out. As always, she does a wonderful job. All right. So you can see we have our piece. I'm going to press these to the dog side.
To the dog side.
So we're going to go towards like the pebbly. All right. So we're going to take a look. And we're going to do 4 inches. So again, I want to straighten up the edge. Again, I'm doing it right-handed, so I'm just flipping it around. Oh, in actuality, my ruler is 4 inches.
Every once in a while, right?
Every once in a while.
They throw you a bone.
Okay. So now we take this section, which we have our center bit. So remember, it's going that way. We are now going to put our top sections on. So like I said, this block is really super simple.
I love the way you put the watery one as the border. You know, quite often when we're doing a quilt that has a block in the center, the more interesting fabric goes into the center. And I love the way you changed it up and put the more interesting fabric on the outside edge.
Alrighty. So again, when I go over to the ironing board, I'm going to be pressing to the outside.
Got it.
To the dark.
Darker.
Darker.
It's all relative.
It's all relative, yes. Okay. So now all we have to do for this guy is, if it's not even, we're just going to even it up. And what I tend to do is I look for a seam and I get that on my ruler, line my ruler up with this side, you know, this edge, and then just get off all the nasties. Flip it around and do the same thing. So again, seam along there, and ta-da! That one is all done. All right, now this is going to be our bottom row. And our bottom row has square, horizontal, blue, square, horizontal, blue, and then we're going to do these square on the side. Now, something to know on here, if you take a look, on the sides, they go up and down, or parallel, okay? So you see here. But in the middle, they change. I just lined it up with
It's cool.
the diagram. So I'm not creating.
So the dyslexic among us, the top row is horizontal. The second row is vertical. Horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical,
and horizontal.
Got it.
Yeah, that's probably an easier way to say it. Blah, 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 blah. Now, what's nice on this is you don't...
I'm like, I'm not sure I can see it from the side.
Now, the next thing we're going to do, let me just flatten this out, is there are no seams to match.
Ooh.
Here, absolutely none. So when you put it together, if you seem to think that one is bigger than the other, remember what the rule is. You always put that towards the feed dogs.
Oh, see, I always sew with a big bottom.
There you go. Again, we're just going to sew all the way across. All right, so again, square, stripe, square, stripe, and then square. Now the only thing that I was trying to do, making sure the seam, the long seam, was going consistently.
Okay.
All right, lining this up. This should work just fine. But again, what's nice on here, no seams to match. All right, now, there are 7 rows to this. The 7th is on my table. So I like to take a look to see my seam allowances I pressed towards the left. Okay, so on this one I'm going to press them the other direction. So let me go and do that. All right, so that row is complete. So now we're just going to take and we're going to put it to the bottom. This was a quick quilt to do. I would say I was able to piece it in, you know, what you saw hanging up, about 2 hours.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Alrighty. So now, because I paid attention to how I did my seams, I have one seam one way and one the other. It makes it easier to nestle them together. And I'm just going to kind of pin them just so you could use clips, whatever works for you. I'm just
Quilt tacks.
Yeah, I'm going to do a quilt tack.
Oh, you are going to?
Yeah,
Oh.
just because you're standing here.
Oh, the pressure.
Oh, you shamed me into it, yes. All right. But I just like to, you know, make sure I'm getting the right seams lined up. All right. So quilt tack. Normal length of stitch, you're going to do a couple of stitches before the seam. So across the seam, do like 1 or 2 stitches after.
And if they haven't done a quilt tack before, they can look at the YouTube channel. We did a video a few months ago just on quilt tacks.
Yep. So again, you're just putting them together, regular stitch length, don't need to do anything special. Your
We could probably get Patricia to link that on the... Now I'll have to remember to tell her that.
Alrighty. You can kind of feel it. When the seam allowances are nestled together. Okay, so once you've done your quilt text, you're going to open it up and you're going to see if you like how it looks. And the advantage of it is if you messed up and you don't, you're only taking out the quilt tack. You're not taking out the whole row.
Makes sense.
It does indeed. All right, and this is also a good opportunity to see if you find that you have one side bigger than the other. This is pretty even, so we're just gonna sew it this way. Again, just line them up. And again, the only part of this that you have to match up are the corner blocks. You don't have to worry about anything else, which is nice.
It is nice because sometimes you have to do a quilt quickly. You know, maybe a charity quilt, or, you know, the baby shower is coming up this Saturday kind of thing.
Yep. So on this one, like I said, not a hard one to do.
But it's interesting. It, you know, sometimes quick quilts look like quick quilts. This doesn't.
Alrighty. So our row is stitched. All right, let me just give this a press. All right, so now what's nice with this guy is they also do cornerstones, or I don't know what you would call it, in the border. Cornerstones?
In the border.
In the border. All right, so we are good to go. Now what they want us to do is they want us to measure across the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And everything here is pretty much straight on grain or on cross grain. There's nothing on the bias.
Okay.
So what I would do is, you can do it right on the edge. I'd come in a little bit just in case you got any stray. And we have 38 and an eighth.
38 and 1/8. Wow,
I know,
that's
right?
accurate, man.
That's accurate. All right. So I kind of already cheated a little bit. I already put one
Okay.
corner on.
So flip it over.
So I have my seam.
Flip the seam allowance over so you're measuring just the dark blue.
Again. .38 and an eighth. That's this. Scissors. All right, so 38 and an eighth, and I'm just going to put a pin there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. This is going to be the top and the bottom. So again, in my case, 38 and an eighth.
And it's important to measure, you know, their individual quilt because it might have slight variations.
Yep. Another pin hit the dust. And if you wanted to be super, super accurate, I'm sure you could have measured both sides, but I don't. It should be pretty good. All right, so now I'm going to take and put my square on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I had the square on one end, square on the other end. And remember, these guys are going to be the top and the bottom. Now, where did I put those scissors? All right, so again, when I press this, I'm going to press it towards the dark. All right, so those two are done. Now, on the sides, when I did my measuring, I knew I'd have to piece it because it's quite long. Okay, so these are the sides.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can see I seam them and then I press them open. And that's going to go on the sides first. So the long sides. So again, we're just going to plop this on. And then at some point, once you're done this, then we'll trim them up. So again, line this up. So they'll do the long bits first.
Generally speaking, in quilting, it's not a hard and fast rule, but usually we put the long sides of the borders on first.
Saves fabric, probably.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Alrighty. So we're sewing down this first side. All of a sudden the quilt seems much longer than it appeared to be. All right, so you can see that that's why we had to piece it. It's really long. All right, so now, same thing on the other side. So now I'm going to press towards the dark side. And then we'll cut it. Okay, so now we're going to take and we're going to cut these. Not a fan of cutting these with a pair of scissors. I always find I'm more accurate when I do it with my rotary cutter. So I'm going to take, again, using a line on the ruler. That's a 1. And this is where you're always happy there's only 4 corners. We're not doing an octagonal shape or something. Okay, 3. And 4. Alrighty, so now those top and bottom borders, what we're going to do is we're going to put these together. And this is a good time just to double check that you're probably close. Yay, look at that. It's like we measured.
It's like you measured, right?
It's like you measured or something. All right, and just because she's standing here.
You gonna quilt tack them?
I'm going to quilt tack them.
Well, good for you.
Like I said, just because she's standing here. All right, we'll see how I like them. Good. Nice. And you also have to remember, whoever's watching, I have a 3-foot rule. If it looks good from 3 feet, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm. Quilters, we're our own worst critics, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Most people are just happy that it's all together.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, you could throw a couple of pins in here. But like I said, we measured it, so it should line up. If at some point you feel like you have to pull 2 inches of ease in, check your measurement. Right, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So putting corners in your borders can take a little longer, but I think it's worth the effort. It looks nice.
It's a nice way of pulling a pop of the quilt color to the outside edge, isn't it?
Yep. All right, so again, little quilt tack. All right, we're gonna check. Again, looks good. Yep.
Nice.
Like I said, it's like we measured. And like I said, if it gets too floppy for you, throw some pins in. I focus about 6 inches at a time. And again, why this works is we took the time to measure at the beginning. So we know that it should line up.
I think borders also are one of those places where you want to be very careful that you're
Don't
not
have a killer death.
that you don't have the killer death grip on the border, because that will create like ruffly borders.
Yeah, you see how I'm just...
measuring and being light-handed as you guide.
you can see I'm just kind of gently holding it. Yeah, if you start doing...
that's going to get
no
you
good.
into trouble.
I also find that to be the case, especially if you had something on the bias. That will be no good. All right. Let me just give this a quick press, and the front of our quilt is done. One more here. And putting that border on the corner stones on the border is actually really pretty. Alrighty. So there we go.
Hang on for a second, I need to get further back.
I know. And look at that.
Do me a favor, Pam. Go that way. Step back a little further, further. Yeah, babe.
There you go. And look at that.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.